Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Let me level with you for a moment. And this might sound a little blunt, but it's a truth that can genuinely set you free, honestly. Nobody truly cares, not about your problems, not about your endless list of excuses, and certainly not about your sad stories. No matter how compelling you think they are, the world, my friend, is simply too engrossed in chasing its own dreams, grappling with its own challenges, and pursuing its own ambitions to pause and carry yours. And you know what? This isn't a harsh reality you need to lament. It's perhaps the most profound and liberating realization you can have, because this right here is your greatest advantage. Think about it. When there's no audience, no judgment, no one to impress, you are undeniably free. You're free to rise with unbridled optimism, free to fall flat on your face without public humiliation, free to build your dreams from the ground up, and free to rebuild them, brick by painful brick, after every setback. This profound freedom means one undeniable truth: your life, your potential for success, and your entire future are 100% yours. Nobody, absolutely nobody, is going to hand it to you on a silver platter. You, and only you, have to earn it. And how do you earn it? You work hard. But I'm not talking about the occasional late night fueled by caffeine and desperation. I'm talking about a consistent, daily commitment. I mean showing up every single day, silently and with an almost ferocious, relentless focus, while others are out there partying, celebrating minor victories, or simply scrolling aimlessly through their digital feeds. You should be deep in the trenches, planning your next move, strategizing your path forward, while they're distracted by fleeting online trends or debating trivialities. You should be building. Because here's the unvarnished truth: people don't often notice the countless hours of effort you pour in behind the scenes. They don't see the sweat, the struggle, the early mornings, or the late nights. No. What people truly notice, what they genuinely respond to, are results, not the strenuous journey, but the tangible outcome. So, let go of the need for external validation. Stop perpetually waiting for someone to offer you support, or for a sudden burst of recognition, or for a thunderous round of applause. The world doesn't reward your good intentions, your busy work, or your volume of activity. No, the world, in its often impersonal way, rewards value. So, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to build undeniable value. Strive to be so exceptionally good at what you do, so genuinely valuable in what you offer, that whoever they are, simply cannot ignore you. But let me be crystal clear on this point: don't do it for them. Don't build for external validation. Do it for you. This journey, this transformation, begins and ends with an intense, unwavering focus on your own internal landscape. Cultivate your mind, strengthen your body, and forge an unbreakable sense of discipline. Understand that every single hour you spend obsessing over what others think, or wasting precious energy defending your choices to critics, is an hour stolen directly from your deepest vision, from the legacy you are destined to create. You don't owe the world an explanation for your dreams or your methods. You owe yourself a legacy, a life fully lived, potential fully realized, a mark left on the world that is uniquely yours. So, etch this into your memory. Carry it with you always. Nobody truly cares now. But trust me, one day, if you stay committed to this path, they absolutely will. Yet, by that point, you won't need them to. Their approval will become a mere footnote, if it even registers at all. You'll have built something so powerful within yourself that their fleeting attention will be entirely unnecessary. This concept flies in the face of what most of us are taught from a young age. We grow up with this ingrained belief that if we simply work hard, if we stay kind and decent, if we diligently follow all the rules, then the world will eventually, almost magically, reward us. We're led to believe that life has some cosmic scoreboard, meticulously keeping track of our patience, our pain, our sheer effort. This expectation, while comforting in its simplicity, is a deeply flawed premise. Here's a truth that often hits hard, a truth you discover early if you're paying close attention: the world owes you absolutely nothing. Why the world doesn't owe you anything? A brutal but liberating reality. Let's unpack this uncomfortable truth. Because understanding it is a cornerstone of genuine progress. You could be the most intelligent person in any given room, possessing a mind that effortlessly grasps complex concepts. You could be the most talented individual on a team, with skills that truly stand out. Yet, despite all this inherent brilliance and capability, you could still find yourself completely ignored, your contributions overlooked. You might hail from a background of profound struggle, having experienced immense loss or enduring unimaginable hardship, and instinctively expect that life, in its infinite wisdom, will somehow make it up to you for all the adversity you've faced. But here's the cold, hard reality. Someday, it won't. That deeply ingrained idea, that expectation of cosmic compensation, is a dangerous trap. It's a comfortable delusion that keeps countless individuals stuck, waiting for a fairness that simply doesn't exist in the unpredictable, often brutal marketplace of life. Life doesn't keep meticulous tabs on fairness or injustice. It operates on a far more pragmatic principle. Life, and indeed the broader world, responds only to what you create, to what you deliver, and crucially, to how you respond to setbacks. We exist within a system where reward is not, in the vast majority of cases, a product of good intentions. It is, almost exclusively, a product of execution. No one genuinely cares how badly you wanted something, how passionately you dreamed of a particular outcome, if you ultimately failed to follow through, to execute, to bring that desire into tangible reality. You don't automatically get ahead because you inherently deserve it in some abstract sense. You get ahead because you made it happen, often despite not being deserved anything in return. Consider this: there are literally millions of people in the world who are more qualified than you are, millions who are working just as hard, or perhaps even harder, driven by the same hunger and ambition. Yet, countless among them still struggle, their potential unfulfilled. Why? Because reality doesn't operate on fantasy or sentimentality. The world isn't a benevolent parent that promises a shiny trophy simply for effort. It is, fundamentally, a market, and the market, in its relentless pursuit of value, doesn't care how long you trained, how early you woke up to chase your dreams, or how many times you bravely failed along the way. The market pays for results, not reasons, not excuses, not intentions. The faster you internalize and accept this fundamental truth, the faster you will genuinely begin to move forward. Stop waiting for the world to suddenly recognize your inherent worth. That, my friend, is unequivocally your job. It's not the responsibility of a recruiter, a friend, a mentor, or some elusive opportunity. Your worth is something you must define, demonstrate, and demand through your actions. Don't sit idly by, hoping for someone to miraculously discover you, to see your hidden potential. Discover yourself first, unearth your talents, hone your skills, clarify your vision, and don't passively expect opportunity to simply knock on your door, a convenient surprise. No, your task is to build the door, and then, perhaps, install the bell. Create your own opportunities through relentless effort and strategic action. Waiting for life to be fair is a colossal, soul-crushing distraction. It's a form of mental quicksand that will pull you down into bitterness and inaction. The most dangerous belief you can possibly harbor, the one that will stifle your growth more than any external obstacle, is the conviction that something or someone out there, be it society, a lucky break, or a specific individual, owes you success, attention, or praise. That insidious belief, that sense of entitlement, keeps you passive, waiting for external forces to elevate you. It breeds resentment towards those who are succeeding, and it ultimately leaves you unproductive, your potential lying fallow. You might find yourself thinking, in moments of deep exhaustion or frustration, but I've been through so much. Look at all the pain I've endured, the sacrifices I've made. Don't I deserve a break? Don't I deserve for things to finally go my way? And the truth is, while your pain is absolutely real and your story is undoubtedly valid, it doesn't automatically give you a head start in the race of life. It doesn't inherently put you ahead of anyone else. It simply makes you human. Every single person on this planet has a story. Every single person carries their own unique burden of struggle, loss, and hardship. The individuals who truly make it, The ones who forge paths where none existed are not the ones who sit around waiting for life to feel sorry for them. They don't hold out for a sympathetic hand. Instead, they work through the storm, finding reserves of strength they didn't know they possessed. They actively find fuel in rejection, allowing it to ignite a deeper resolve rather than extinguish their flame. They understand, with a clarity born of experience, that life is inherently hard, complex, and often unfair. But instead of succumbing to that difficulty, they consciously choose to be harder, to be more resilient, to be more adaptable. They become the force that reshapes their reality. Let's address the seeming lack you might perceive from the world, the lack of response, the lack of immediate recognition. Understand that there's nothing personal about it. It's not about whether you are liked or disliked, whether you are seen as inherently worthy or unworthy. It's about a far more fundamental question. Are you building something that truly matters? Are you creating something that has genuine utility, solves a real problem, or brings tangible benefit to others? To truly move forward, you absolutely need to stop looking for external validation and, instead, start relentlessly producing value. That value can manifest in countless forms. It could be value in a business you're building, solving a market need. It could be value in a skill you're painstakingly mastering, becoming indispensable in your field. It could be value in a mindset you cultivate, inspiring and empowering those around you. Or it could be value in a selfless contribution to your community or cause. If you're not actively giving the world something it genuinely needs or wants, if you're not adding to the collective good in some tangible way, then you simply cannot expect it to respond to your desires. It's not a moral judgment. It's an economic and social reality. Now, this isn't meant to be discouraging, heavy, or bleak. Quite the opposite. In fact, this realization, this acceptance, is profoundly liberating. Because once you truly internalize the understanding that no one, not a single soul, is coming to save you, something powerful shifts within. You stop waiting. You stop blaming external circumstances, other people, or past misfortunes. You start creating. You seize the reins of your own destiny. You take absolute, unwavering responsibility for everything. Your progress, your discipline, your next decisive step. That mindset, that radical shift to complete self-responsibility changes everything. You transform from a passive victim of circumstance into an active leader of your own life. You move from feeling lost and adrift to becoming laser-focused on your objectives. You transition from being an unnoticed bystander to an undeniable force. Think about the elements that truly govern our journey. Time doesn't care about your feelings. It simply ticks forward. Competition doesn't care about your struggles. It just keeps pushing. The market doesn't care about your dreams. It demands results. The only one who can truly care, and more importantly, act on that care, is you. And here's the beautiful paradox. That's enough. In fact, if you're willing to accept the weight, the inherent responsibility, and the profound potential of your own success, it's more than enough. Complaining, no matter how eloquent or justified, will never, ever move you forward. A sense of entitlement, no matter how deeply felt, will never build your future. Only consistent, focused, and profoundly self-driven work will pave the way. Let go of the fantasy of a fairness policy enshrined in the universe. There is no secret formula that bypasses the grind. There is no magic waiting list where simply being patient guarantees reward. No. There's only action. There is relentless improvement. There's inevitable failure, sometimes spectacular, sometimes subtle, and there is, crucially, the unwavering choice to try again every single day, without applause, without sympathy, without permission from anyone. Success is not some whimsical gift bestowed upon the fortunate few. It's not a favor granted by benevolent forces, nor is it a happy coincidence that accidentally drops into your lap. Success is something you painstakingly build, piece by painstaking piece, decision by deliberate decision, hour by focused hour. No one will hand it to you. No one will carry you to the finish line. It is your responsibility completely, entirely, and without a single exception. The very moment you decide to chase a goal, to pursue a dream, you make a silent, yet incredibly profound agreement with yourself. You are, in essence, declaring, "I will do what it takes. But here's where most people falter. They start strong, full of initial zeal, but then they get distracted. They blame their circumstances, external factors, or other people. They constantly look for shortcuts, for the easy button. They conveniently forget that genuine, lasting results only come to those who genuinely own the process. If your life isn't where you want it to be right now, if you're feeling stuck, frustrated, or unfulfilled, then it's time for another dose of uncomfortable truth. No one else is to blame, not your parents, not your past, not your boss, not your partner, and certainly not some amorphous concept called society. It's incredibly easy, almost instinctual, to point fingers, to externalize the source of our problems. It's far, far harder to look squarely in the mirror and ask the truly uncomfortable question, what am I doing about it? Excuses, my friend, are incredibly heavy. They are unseen weights that drag you down, slowing your progress, stifling your potential. They cloud your thinking, creating a haze that obscures the clarity you desperately need. And, perhaps most insidiously, they protect you from the very truth that could liberate you. The truth is stark. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can want your success more than you do. You are the sole custodian of your deepest aspiration. Nobody can wake up for you when the alarm screams at an ungodly hour. Nobody can grind through those grueling, solitary hours of work for you. Nobody can study, build, fail, and then bravely rise again for you. That, every single bit of it, is all on you. If you're perpetually waiting for a surge of motivation to strike before you take action, then you're already significantly behind. Motivation, while wonderful, is a fickle, fleeting emotion. It's a visitor, not a resident. If you're waiting for the right time, for all the stars to perfectly align, you've already wasted invaluable time. Time you can never reclaim. The individuals who truly win, who achieve remarkable feats, aren't the ones who patiently wait for ideal conditions or a burst of inspiration. No, they are the ones who act even when it's incredibly hard, even when the path ahead is shrouded in uncertainty, even when fear whispers its insidious doubts. So many people spend years, decades even, waiting to feel ready. They spend precious chunks of their lives waiting for a perfectly clear path to materialize, a benevolent mentor to appear, or some unmistakable sign from the universe to give them permission to begin. But here's the profound irony. The path doesn't get clearer by waiting. The path gets clearer the more steps you actually take. Nobody, absolutely nobody, knows exactly what they're doing at the very beginning of a new venture, a new skill, a new dream. They just start. They courageously take responsibility for figuring it out as they go. They fail, often spectacularly. They adjust, learn, and iterate. And then, with quiet determination, they keep moving forward. You have a vision stirring within your mind, don't you? A vision of a better life, a stronger, more capable version of yourself, a future truly worth living for. But that beautiful, compelling vision will tragically remain a mere fantasy until you make a conscious, unwavering decision to take it seriously. And taking it seriously means no more waiting for external cues, no more blaming past misfortunes, no more passively wishing things were different. It means waking up earlier, consistently. It means working longer, with focused intensity. It means having the courage to say no to distractions, to temptations, to anything that pulls you away from your true north. It means willingly embracing the boring work, the uncomfortable work, the repetitive work, the work that nobody claps for, not once, but you do it every single day. You can possess immense talent. You can be incredibly smart. You can even be lucky, catching a few breaks along the way. But without accountability, without that deep sense of personal responsibility for your actions and outcomes, none of it truly matters, because talent alone, intelligence alone, luck alone, doesn't produce results. Action does. And that decisive, consistent action fundamentally stems from a deep-seated sense of responsibility. You don't magically succeed by simply talking about how badly you want something, no matter how sincere your desire. You succeed by showing up when it's inconvenient, when every fiber of your being wants to quit. You succeed by bravely learning from every failure, dissecting it for lessons, rather than shamefully hiding from it. You succeed when you deliberately, Take charge not just when things are going smoothly and effortlessly, but especially, crucially, when they aren't. No one is going to swoop in to remind you of your goals. No one is going to check in to see if you actually completed your morning routine, if you stuck to your meticulously crafted plan, or if you successfully avoided those pervasive distractions that constantly vie for your attention. That, my friend, is unequivocally your job. That fundamental, internal locus of control is precisely what separates those who merely dream from those who consistently deliver. Success, at its core, isn't truly about what you post on social media or what carefully curated image you project or even what eloquent words you utter. No, true, lasting success is about what you do when no one's watching. It's in the unseen hours, the solitary efforts, the persistent grind that no one applauds. The harsh truth remains, life doesn't care how incredibly difficult your journey has been. It doesn't reward your good intentions or your heartfelt desires. It relentlessly rewards action. And that action, that vital, transformative force, has to originate from you, not from passively waiting for a surge of motivation, not from desperately hoping someone else gives you a much-needed push, but from a fierce, internal decision that you will push yourself. Every single excuse, every deliberate delay, every instance of shifting blame away from yourself directly diminishes your power. Taking absolute responsibility, however uncomfortable it may feel initially, brings all that power surging back to you. You either own your success, claiming it as the direct result of your deliberate actions, or you effectively surrender it to chance, leaving your fate to the whims of circumstance. The world we inhabit today is undeniably full of noise, a relentless, often overwhelming cacophony of opinions, scathing criticism, nagging doubt, endless distractions. The insidious pressure of fake success stories, constant comparisons to others, highlight reels, and a pervasive, often meaningless, quest for external validation. From the very moment you make that courageous decision to do something genuinely different, to build something profoundly real, to chase something deeply meaningful, the volume of this noise will inevitably get louder. People will talk. Oh, how! They will talk. They will question you, sometimes with genuine concern, often with thinly veiled skepticism or outright malice. They will doubt your timing, your carefully considered decisions, your chosen strategy, and perhaps most painfully, even the very audacity of your ambition. This, understand, is an inherent and unavoidable part of the process. But here's the critical mistake that most people make. They start listening. They allow the noise to penetrate their focus, to sow seeds of doubt. You don't, and indeed shouldn't, feel the need to answer every opinion hurled your way. You don't need to prove anything to anyone else if you spend all your precious energy, all your valuable time, defending your vision to people who don't even begin to understand your chosen destination. You will inevitably waste the very energy you desperately need to actually get there. Most of the world simply isn't trying to build what you're building. Most people are operating from their own deep-seated fears, their profound insecurities, or simply from a place of chronic laziness. Their noise, their criticism, their doubt, it's rarely truly about you. More often than not, it's a direct reflection of what they themselves are not willing to do, the risks they are unwilling to take, or the effort they are unwilling to expend. The biggest, most insidious threat to your vision isn't outright failure, though that's certainly a challenge. No, the biggest threat is distraction, and distraction cunningly wears many masks. It shows up as endless comparison to others' apparent successes. It manifests as mindless social media scrolling, consuming instead of creating. It creeps in as unnecessary conversations that drain your energy without adding value. It seduces you into trying to impress others, diluting your focus. It tempts you into jumping impulsively from one idea to the next without ever building genuine momentum on any single one. The more noise you allow into your mental space, the less clarity you will possess, and without clarity, that sharp, focused understanding of your path and purpose, even the most brilliant vision, will eventually wither and die. There will always be someone who seems to be doing better than you are, at least on the surface. There will always be someone telling you that you're not enough, or that you're doing it wrong. There will always be another shiny trend, another revolutionary method. Another seductive voice telling you to go left when you've already committed your heart and soul to go in right. You simply cannot build anything truly meaningful, anything lasting, if you're constantly looking over your shoulder, constantly adjusting your sails to every changing wind of opinion. Silence isn't weakness, it's profound discipline. Learning how to effectively tune out the incessant noise to guard your inner sanctuary is one of the most valuable and transformative skills you can ever hope to develop. Protect your vision as fiercely as you would protect the very oxygen you breathe. Keep it close to your heart, guard it from external interference. Feed it daily with deliberate action and unwavering belief. Build it in silence. Talk less. Do more. Share less of the raw process. Execute more of the tangible steps. Not because you're hiding anything, but because you are profoundly focused. People don't need to witness every single, painstaking step of your journey. What they need, and what they will eventually respond to, are the results when the time is truly right for those results to speak for themselves. And powerful results only materialize when you are completely locked in, undistracted by the fleeting allure of applause or the stinging pain of criticism. You don't owe anyone an elaborate explanation for your boundless ambition. You don't need to convince a single soul why you're working late into the night, why you're willingly skipping parties, or why you're defiantly choosing not to follow the latest fleeting trends. Your vision is profoundly personal. It is an internal fire burning brightly within you. And most of the time, that vision won't make a lick of sense to others until it becomes undeniably, glaringly obvious through its manifestation. The very same people who once doubted you, who questioned your sanity, will, with surprising amnesia, later act as if they always believed in you, as if they were your staunchest supporters from day one. That's simply how the world works. But be warned, if you relentlessly chase external approval, you will inevitably lose your true direction. If you constantly pursue popularity, you will tragically compromise your inherent potential. You cannot possibly maintain intense focus on your mission while simultaneously trying to be liked by every single person you encounter. The noise, the constant clamor of external opinions, is subtly designed to pull you off course, not because people are inherently evil or malicious, but because they simply don't see what you see. They weren't given your unique vision. They weren't handed your specific dream. That dream is yours. That goal is yours. That profound responsibility is yours alone. So, consciously create space not just physically in your environment, but vitally, mentally within your mind. Deliberately turn down the volume of the outside world. Reduce the number of external opinions you absorb, especially those that don't serve your growth. Focus significantly less on what everyone else is doing, and significantly more on what you need to do next to advance your own agenda. When the world screams with incessant noise, clarity becomes an incredibly rare and valuable commodity. Make clarity your sharpest weapon. Make silence your most profound edge. The strongest people aren't necessarily the loudest, the flashiest, or the most attention-seeking. They are the ones who are so deeply locked into their purpose, so intensely focused on their creation, that the external noise simply doesn't even reach them. They know, with unshakable conviction, what they're building. They don't chase fleeting attention, they chase mastery. And mastery, the highest form of achievement, demands uncompromising focus, not just sometimes, when it's convenient, but consistently, daily, with unwavering dedication. In a world overflowing with countless voices vying for your attention, learn to trust your own, not the insecure voice filled with self-doubt and fear, but the one buried deep down inside, the one that instinctively sees the future, that genuinely believes in what's truly possible for you, that inherently understands what absolutely must be done. Motivation. Motivation. It feels good, doesn't it? It's exciting, powerful, energizing, almost intoxicating. It gives you that initial surge, that vibrant feeling that you can conquer the world. But here's the inconvenient truth. It's also profoundly temporary. It comes in waves, unpredictable and often fleeting. One moment you're inspired, soaring with boundless energy, ready to tackle any challenge, and the next moment you're tired, distracted, or suddenly unsure. That's the fundamental problem with motivation. It's emotional. It relies almost entirely on how you feel in any given moment, and feelings, by their very nature. Change, they ebb and flow. That's precisely why truly successful people don't primarily depend on motivation to drive their progress. Instead, they meticulously build discipline when nobody cares. That's freedom, the discipline of unwavering commitment. Discipline is a fundamentally different beast than motivation. It doesn't politely ask how you feel today. It doesn't wait for the stars to align, for the perfect moment, or for a sudden burst of inspiration. Discipline simply shows up. It shows up whether it's raining outside, whether you're utterly exhausted, whether it's incredibly convenient or deeply inconvenient. Where motivation needs a compelling reason to act, discipline simply needs a decision. It's painstakingly built, day by day, in the countless small, consistent choices you make, especially in those quiet moments when no one is watching, when nothing exciting is happening, and when the allure of instant gratification whispers its tempting promises. People often chase motivation because it feels easier, more glamorous. Watching an inspiring video, reading a powerful quote, or listening to an electrifying speech can give you a temporary, exhilarating push. But what happens when that initial push inevitably fades? What happens when the harsh reality of the grind kicks in, when progress is agonizingly slow and the work becomes monotonous and boring? That, right there, is precisely where most people stop. They throw their hands up and declare, "I'm just not feeling it today." Discipline, however, doesn't care if you're feeling it. Discipline, with its unwavering resolve, simply says, do it anyway. Discipline is the force that pulls you out of bed early, even when you went to sleep late and your body aches. It's the commitment that drags you to the gym when your muscles are screaming in protest. It's the stubborn adherence to your meticulously crafted schedule even when 1,000 distractions pile up around you, begging for your attention. It's doing the vital work again and again and again, without the expectation of applause, without a single cheer from the sidelines. That, my friend, is what builds true consistency. That is what builds sustainable, undeniable progress. Motivation might indeed get you started, but only discipline will relentlessly keep you going. There are, broadly speaking, two distinct types of people in the world. There are those who act based primarily on their fleeting feelings and transient emotions. And then there are those who act based on a deep, unshakable sense of commitment. The first group perpetually waits to be inspired, to feel the spark. They inevitably stop when the work becomes uncomfortable, when the path gets rough. They constantly look for external reasons, for outside forces, to keep them moving forward. The second group, however, does the necessary work simply because they said they would. They understand, with profound clarity, that emotion is not a reliable strategy for long-term success. They understand, deep in their bones, that discipline is not merely a desirable trait. It is the non-negotiable price of success. If you only work when you feel a surge of motivation, your results will be predictably inconsistent. You'll have a few incredibly productive, high-energy days, followed by long, unproductive stretches of nothing. But if you consistently operate from a place of deep discipline, you begin to build an unstoppable momentum. You create powerful habits, and those habits, meticulously forged through consistent action, form the unbreakable foundation of long-term achievement. Because, ultimately, success isn't truly about intensity, it's about consistency. One single day of hard work, no matter how intense, won't fundamentally change your life. But 100 days of relentless, disciplined effort, that, unequivocally, will transform your life beyond recognition. People often use the excuse that they're waiting to feel ready. But let's call that what it is. It's simply fear, wearing a cleverly disguised mask. Readiness doesn't magically appear first. Discipline comes first. Discipline, through its consistent action, creates momentum. Momentum, in turn, builds genuine confidence. And that newfound confidence is what finally makes you feel truly ready. You cannot, under any circumstances, reverse this natural order. You cannot passively wait for motivation to drag you, kicking and screaming, into discipline. You absolutely have to choose discipline first, particularly, and most importantly, on those days when you feel like doing absolutely nothing. Even the most successful individuals on the planet don't wake up every single morning brimming with excitement, eager to tackle their work. They have their doubts. They feel lazy. They face immense pressure and external resistance, just like everyone else. But what distinguishes them is this: they've meticulously trained themselves to act anyway. They've consciously turned discipline into an integral part of their very identity. It's no longer something they try to do, it's simply who they are. And that right there is the crucial difference. Motivation is external, it fades. Discipline is internal. It's permanent. It doesn't rely on hype, fleeting inspiration, or external validation. It relies on deeply ingrained habits, robust structures, and consistent repetition. You might not be able to control how you feel every single morning when you open your eyes, but you absolutely can control what you choose to do about it. You might not be able to predict your mood with certainty, but you can always choose your actions. That profound sense of agency, that ability to consistently choose your actions, regardless of your emotional state, is precisely what gives you control over your destiny. And that, in turn, is precisely what separates amateurs from true professionals. If you genuinely want to grow, to evolve, to reach your full potential, then you have a sacred obligation to show up for yourself even when it's incredibly hard, and especially when it's brutally hard. Discipline, at its core, is doing the right thing, taking the necessary action, long after the fleeting feeling of motivation has completely disappeared. It's about getting deeply comfortable with discomfort, embracing it as a sign of progress. It's about understanding, with crystal clarity, that every single excuse you allow yourself, every single delay you succumb to, pushes your goal one painful step further away, while every single act of discipline, no matter how small, pulls it one decisive step closer. One of the most insidious and dangerous traps in the modern world is the relentless, pervasive search for approval. Approval from friends, from family, from co-workers, from fleeting social media followers, from complete strangers online. The list, tragically, never ends. People are unknowingly, sometimes knowingly, building entire lives they don't truly believe in. They're chasing goals they don't even genuinely want, all for the singular purpose of eliciting a positive reaction, a nod of approval, a like from someone else. That, my friend, is the fastest, most direct route to losing yourself entirely. When your primary focus becomes getting noticed, getting liked, getting validated by others, you tragically lose focus on what actually, truly matters, the profound process of growing into the person you were meant to become. Approval, by its very nature, is temporary. It's fragile, like a delicate glass. It shifts constantly with fleeting trends, unpredictable moods, and the capricious opinions of others' opinions over which you have absolutely no control. You can be celebrated as a hero today, showered with praise, and then mercilessly criticized and condemned tomorrow, all for the very same actions. If your fundamental sense of confidence, your self-worth, is precariously built upon the shaky foundation of external applause, then the inevitable silence, the absence of validation, will utterly destroy you. But self-growth is fundamentally different. Self-growth is real, it's concrete. It doesn't depend on external attention or public spectacle. It depends entirely and solely on consistent, deliberate effort. It's not loud, it's rarely glamorous, but it is profoundly, unshakably powerful. When you make the conscious choice to start focusing on self-growth, something truly transformative begins to happen. You start measuring your progress not by how you stack up against others, or by who others want you to be today. No. You start measuring progress by a far more meaningful metric: who you were yesterday. You naturally stop comparing yourself to everyone else's highlight reels and carefully curated images. Instead, you begin comparing yourself to your past self, your previous habits, your past limitations, your former mindset. That right there is where genuine power truly begins to ignite. Because when you're endlessly chasing external approval, your decisions become inherently reactionary. You constantly find yourself doing what you believe will please others, often compromising your integrity or your true desires. You diligently avoid risks, staying within the safe, comfortable boundaries defined by others' expectations. You constantly try to fit in, to conform, to be palatable to everyone. But when you are fiercely chasing growth, your decisions become deeply intentional. You courageously take calculated risks, understanding that growth often lies beyond your comfort zone. You pursue mastery with an almost obsessive dedication, recognizing that true excellence demands singular focus. You become deeply comfortable with being misunderstood, even criticized. Because you possess an unshakable inner compass, you know exactly what you're working toward, and that clarity shields you from external negativity. Think of the many individuals who appear wildly successful on the outside. They have all the trappings of achievement, the accolades, the material possessions, but inside, they often feel profoundly empty. Why? Because their success was never truly theirs to begin with. It was meticulously built on meeting external expectations, unfulfilling roles, and achieving benchmarks that didn't originate from within their own deepest desires. They achieved what others told them to achieve, pursuing paths that were chosen for them, not by them. They built a life around a carefully constructed image, a facade, rather than around genuine integrity and authentic purpose. True, enduring success begins from a place of deep self-growth. It emerges from knowing, with profound clarity, who you truly are, where you're authentically going, and, crucially, why it fundamentally matters even if nobody else currently sees or understands it. Self-growth is a quiet, often invisible process. It happens in those solitary moments when you choose to stay up learning a new skill, instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media. It happens when you courageously reflect on your mistakes, dissecting them for lessons, instead of defensively trying to justify or hide them. It happens when you consistently choose discipline over distraction, when you prioritize purpose over fleeting popularity, and when you embrace consistency over instant gratification and comfort. You don't need a grand audience to grow. In fact, most of the most profound and real growth happens when no one is watching, when the spotlight is entirely absent, while others are frantically busy posting their daily updates and seeking digital affirmation. You're quietly busy building something substantial. While they're endlessly looking for fleeting likes and empty validation, you're diligently developing new skills, strengthening your mental resilience, and becoming harder to break. The very approval you might currently be seeking will eventually come, paradoxically, but only after you no longer desperately need it. That's the beautiful irony, isn't it? When your focus shifts entirely from external validation to genuine self-growth, you inherently become more valuable, more capable, more impactful. And when you are truly valuable, people inevitably begin to notice. But by then, your motivation won't be about doing it for them. Your driving force will be doing it purely for you. And that, my friend, is when your personal power becomes utterly unshakable. Not because fleeting external validation has confirmed your worth, but because you have, through consistent, deliberate action, powerfully validated yourself from within. You do not need permission from anyone to grow. Your inherent worthiness is not contingent upon external applause. Your reality, your truth, does not require public recognition. Growth is a personal responsibility, a sacred pact you make with yourself. It doesn't ask for likes or shares on a digital platform. It relentlessly asks for sustained, deliberate effort. It doesn't care who's watching or whether you have a cheering squad. It cares only about how far you are truly willing to go, how deeply you're willing to commit. When absolutely nobody is clapping for you, seeking approval, that endless quest for external validation is a dangerous distraction. It can feel like a powerful drug, offering a temporary high, a fleeting sense of belonging. It feels good in the short term, soothing anxieties and bolstering a fragile ego. But in the long term, it inexorably keeps you weak, dependent, and ultimately unfulfilled. Why? Because it subtly, insidiously teaches you to depend on others for your very sense of worth, for your direction, for your very identity. Self-growth is the complete opposite. It teaches you to depend, with unshakable resolve, on your own dedicated effort, your own honest reflection, and your own rigorously defined standards. When you authentically grow, your confidence emanates from deep within your being. It cannot be taken away by a negative comment, a dismissive glance, or a shift in public opinion. It cannot be faked or manufactured. And it certainly doesn't disappear just because someone else doesn't happen to notice it or acknowledge it. is an internal fortress built by your own hands. In conclusion, the unvarnished, often uncomfortable truth is this: nobody truly, unequivocally cares about your excuses, your struggles, or even your deepest, most cherished dreams, unless you have already, through your actions, proven yourself worthy of that attention. The world, in its relentless pace, moves incredibly fast, and waiting for sympathy, or for an elusive permission slip, will only guarantee that you are left behind, your potential unfulfilled, your dreams unrealized. If you genuinely desire to succeed, to manifest your vision in this world, then you must accept, with radical honesty, the full and complete ownership of your journey. Stop expecting others to understand the intricate nuances of your vision. It's yours, not theirs. Stop endlessly seeking validation from people who are too consumed by their own distractions, too comfortable in their own routines, to genuinely care about the arduous, silent grind you're putting in. Success isn't something that's simply handed out like a participation trophy. It is fiercely earned. It's forged through unyielding discipline, through unwavering consistency, and through an almost fanatical, relentless focus. When you finally stop wasting precious time and energy explaining yourself to those who don't understand, and instead start investing that invaluable time and energy in continuously improving yourself, every single aspect of your life will begin to change. Your silence, paradoxically, will begin to speak louder than any words you could utter. Your progress, tangible and undeniable, will become your irrefutable proof. This is your life. These are your goals. This is your profound responsibility. The sooner you fully accept that no one is coming to save you, that you are the architect of your own destiny, the faster you will truly rise to meet your potential. So, focus intensely on your mission. Guard your precious energy with the diligence of a seasoned warrior. Let your work, the sheer quality and impact of what you produce, do all the talking for you. Because when you truly, genuinely commit to bettering yourself, when your growth becomes an internal, self-driven imperative, you will eventually stop caring who's watching, who's applauding, or who's even noticing. And that, my friend, that moment of profound liberation from external validation, is precisely when real success truly begins. Don't ever compete for fleeting attention. Instead, compete with who you were yesterday. Work in silence. Grow in private. Let the results and your inner peace be your reward. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, found it helpful, and feel motivated, please share and subscribe. Don't forget to share it with your friends and relatives too.